The story I am reading is my own. It's called Misplaced. I was Selenge a taste. Then Selenge a taste Marat. Selenge was the river where my mama spent much of her youth. Albeit I did resemble this river, with dark blue-green hair and seafoam eyes. I was born to simple farmers, a taste and Nguay. My mama Nguay often reminisced about my grandfather, Gumbo Sambu. She claimed he was a warrior of much repute. This fact surely had no bearing on our state of existence. In my earliest years, I heard my parents complaining of the deeds of our cruel Lord. Many nights I lied awake and wondered why they stayed if they were so unhappy. I was eager to work, if only to please them. As early as 5, I was set to picking and planting seeds. Then I would feed the animals. My parents were not sated with my help. Indeed, my ears were filled with ceaseless news of our careless emperor, who allowed the laws to do as they will. Then the faithless day, Lord Chuchulin selected my Baba, among others, to test his new sword. When my Baba returned, my heart swelled to my chest until I thought that it would explode. My mama fell to her knees, unable to stand for long abated minutes. The noise she made woke the dead. At least, that is what I thought. As things changed around me, I sensed presences I had never sensed before. No one seemed to notice them either. My Baba had survived, unlike most others, but he was a fraction of a man and of no use to anyone but us. I could not understand, but I was not supposed to ask questions. The spirits, though, they did not care. They were just pleased to be acknowledged and in turn helped me understand the events that transpired around me. See, we were unable to appeal to the emperor because we were commoners. To voice anything, my Baba must first appeal to our Lord, Samurai Chuchulin, the very same who conducted the cruel acts upon my dear Baba Ates. My poor Mama Nguay was unable to perform the work of two, and I was too small for most tasks. As a result, our household yielded too little produce. We were to receive discipline. It was a mockery that beset disquietude upon us. Oh, my heart soared with joy when my parents decided to flee rather than face Samurai Chuchulin's judgment. I was sure that we were to rise to good fortune. At sunrise, we neared the road. The brigands accosted us as soon as we stepped upon it. Borea was their leader, a despotic man. His eyes sent shivers down my spine, and in a frozen state of consternation, I lost my voice. I did not speak again, except to whisper to the spirits when we were alone. Borea and his men all reasoned I was mute, which suited me. Borea saw our hatred for the samurai lords and the emperor, and he exploited it. He exploited us. My parents fell into a state of melancholy, then stoically resigned themselves to this life. Children like me will use this bait to lure the unsuspecting passerbys. It was worse than the farm. We labored excessively at the farm, but bathing and food was scarcer. I learned what hunger was and gained evidence of the bad qualities of humans. My dreams were haunted with the continuance of the screams of the people we assaulted. Their eyes, as we proceeded, with untold horrors upon their frail forms, bore into my soul. The circumstance induced bitterness towards people. I would be misanthrope if it were not for the spirits who assured me that a better kind existed. The spirits advised me to leave, but I was still a fledgling. I could not give up my parents. They were benignant. They acted out of fear, not for desire or want. Besides, Borea's scheme could not last forever. The spirits whispered of him as a nuisance, one the emperor was set to get rid of. I wanted this. I gambled my life on this credence. Then one late afternoon, a hush fell about the forest. I heard the crunching of the spruce twigs and the crackling birch leaves. I went supine in a rush. The soldiers had set an ambush, and most of Boyat's troop was slain. My parents were among them. For long, agonizing seconds, I thought my eyes betrayed me. Why did the spirits not help them? I wanted to shout at them. The weight of the air felt as solid metal upon my chest, constricting my breath, leaving their bodies hapless, for others lacking. My love lacerated my essence. To gather them was to forfeit my own existence. So I fled before my mind could conjure more debates. There was nothing for me. Boya was hunted down and dragged off to receive royal justice. I was free of the oppressive vermin, but my chest heaved, racked with unimaginable pain. The spirits guided me as I slipped begrudgingly through the breach beyond the soldier's grasp. My feet seemed to be made of lead as delirium embraced me. My mind was warped by the events as I aimlessly traversed the darkened wood. At sunset, I noticed a clearing offset by a series of hills. At close inspection, I saw saxifrage and moss set in large patches over a short stone wall. There was no gate to shut people out, only 2 guards who dashed from the promenade to aid me. I must have appeared disheveled and indisposed the way they gave care. I accepted and allowed them to carry me to an inn called Boreata. It was a quaint place, though too far from the Empire to afford more than a handful of soldiers as its protection. As a result, they were a hardy lot, at the mercy of any brigands, orcs, goblins, and worse. They assumed I had escaped, given the recent activity, search and seizure of Borea. I did little to persuade them otherwise. Boreata stood tall, overshadowing a rookery. Scant verdure and shops encircled the perimeter. The owners of the Boreata were Marat and Audra, who took immediate interest in my welfare. They were a jolly couple who lost their own children. Their youngest daughter, Orkina, died of Shah fever. Their oldest son, Monk, fancied the traveler's stories too much. Instead of staying to inherit the inn, he stole away in search of a life at sea. Little word from him had the couple in a frightful state. The loss of my parents was evident and convenient. The couple took responsibility of me without consent, though I did little to reject the idea. Their affections helped numb the grief I harbored. The provisions they provided were the best I had encountered. For many months it was fed. My station in life had greatly improved, though inheriting an inn was not well established in my ideals. The loss of my parents could never be replaced, as much as I cherished the couple's attempts to do so. Mama Audra, in particular, was doting, but I quickly showed her how capable I was by foraging mushrooms and herbs from the surrounding forest for her stews and pies. Worried, Baba Marat schooled me in small blades, staves, and the like. He then took me hawking with his eagles, a sport he was fond of. I did enjoy it. It was good bonding. However, I know this life was not for my desensitized soul. My new parents did not understand, and My lack of openness was to blame. True, it was my conjecture, but I had a strong desire to roam the land and swim the lakes. Lakes, water. There is something about that calls to me. Was it the spirits? Since the spirits have spoken to me, I have become distant in the tangible reality. I was grateful and burdened conjointly. In many aspects, I felt misplaced. It was not just my gifts, but my appearance, albeit none was keen to draw attention to it. I resemble neither of my parents, nor any other that I have encountered. Was I like others on my mamma's side? Gambo Sambu, perhaps? I do not fancy myself a warrior. I have never met mamma's side. A curious thing. Living in Boreata Inn, I was fortunate to engage in all sorts of travelers and delighted in hearing their tales. One day I took advantage. I joined a ripe group of travelers, tagging along as best I could. I do miss my new parents, but Boyetta was not my destiny. I had the gift of a shaman, though their gift was passed down through generations. If any of my family had this gift, they did not let it leak out. So I left Boyata with the dust on my boots and a laden heart that no herb could cure. The pain of loss was still hot behind my eyes, but colder were the looks I've gotten from those who called me kin. No horse carried me. I walked, barefoot at times, to feel the earth, and I watched the sky, wondering if the spirits I'd felt as a girl had turned away for good. It was deep in the forest of Zybikoskin, on the third night after I left Boryata. I found mushrooms glowing like lanterns around the base of a charred stump. I was so hungry, I nearly ate them raw. But something in me, maybe spite, maybe wisdom, told me to brew them instead. I drank under the stars and fireflies, lying in the curve of an old tree's belly, and the visions came like floodwater, mother's tears falling into the river, a wolf laughing with human eyes, our yurt burning with no smoke. And then him, my grandfather, not as a man, but as a great eagle, feathers like hammered silver, eyes like peat fire. He circled 3 times above my curled body, then descended and perched on a branch just beyond the reach of reason. He spoke to me, but without words. I heard him in my marrow, in my soul. You are not broken, child. You are unbound. You carry the gift. And in his words, the world reeled like a drunken song, and I woke with feathers clenched in my fist and his name on my lips. Gambold. Since that night, he's never left. When I call the spirits, he comes first. When danger coils like a serpent, he screams before I can speak. He is my guide and my link to my human heritage, my ancestry. He is not just the severe leader of war Mama described. To me, he is the light between the worlds. Is this what it means in becoming a shaman? What it really is, not rising, but being shattered beautifully enough that the spirits can pour through the cracks. Like stained glass, or beauty as an unexpected laugh. Thank you for listening to my story. This is Deanne's Treasure Studio, where I read stories. Remember to like and subscribe. Until next time.